Welcome back to Beast Wars Wednesday. I'm your host, Predacon, Gimpy.
Yeah, and I'm your host, Decepticon Gimpy.
You mean Cal.
Oh, thanks, guy. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Today's episode is, I can't remember.
This one's called Changing of the Grads.
Welcome back to Beast Wars Wednesday.
I am your host, Decepticon Doug.
And I'm your host, Predacon Paul.
And today we are talking about Changing of the Guard. Changing of the Guard begins entering the Maximal base, and there's big holes in the door, and they're trying to fix it up, giving it a little TLC.
Good old Patchytron sitting there, patching it up.
The Predacons just keep attacking the Maximals. So Rhinox is trying his hand at getting a few things sorted out. He's like, beep, boop, 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 boop,
He's pushing those buttons
beep, boop, 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 boop,
with his
boop.
rhino fingers.
I think he's trying to get a shield up.
He's trying to get what's left of the Axelon shield emitters or something.
Or
working with the Teletron one's power source.
Yeah. A thing goes poof into Rhinox's face, and he's like, "Ooh, I got the cartoon black smudge on me." Optimus is like, "Well, I guess there's Plan A. Time for Plan B."
And his Plan B is to tell Fish Lips, "Hey!" But he doesn't answer. So
Yeah.
on to Plan C.
But Plan C is a lot like Plan B, except instead of getting depth charge down to salvage Sentinel, because that's what Plan B was, they're going to send a Rattrap down, but Rattrap is not a manta ray. He's actually a rat. So Black Arachnia, being her clever self, built this cool little, like,
Ball.
a ball that swims.
It's a submersible.
Yeah, Black Arachnia thinks she's going to go, but Optimus is like, no, I like to put Rattrap in mortal danger, not you.
Which, furthermore, shows just how much he doesn't actually trust Black Arachnia. He says it's because he wants to put Rattrap in mortal danger, but we all know it's because he doesn't trust her, because she's a spider. And I wouldn't trust her either.
He hates spiders. Doesn't even like them. It's because Rattrap knows the base pretty well, but clearly he doesn't remember all those times that Black Arachnia wandered around the Maximal base. Because I remember them pretty well. Other voices, possession, other visits. Yeah, so Black Arachnia's had a few tours of the Maximal base, or as like we call it here on the show, the MB, because we are super cash here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we're really cash.
Yo, you remember when the MB is down at the B of the L?
Yeah, IR that pretty G.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bird Dog, Silverbolt, is carrying Rattrap in the ball, and they get right over the waterfall around the lake area, and Rattrap's like, scaring the cheese right out of me. I don't know about going in the water. And Silverbolt's like, okay, see ya. Off he goes. And then he gets under there and he starts paddling away. And he's like, hey, you know what? This ain't so bad.
This is actually kind of cool,
Yeah, this is not too bad. Hey, it's kind of cool.
Cue some really, really cheesy clown circus music.
Da, 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 da. Then they do the old like comedic like, oh, you thought that was playing in the show, but it was actually playing in the show.
Ayo!
Rattrap's looking around. He's like, oh, there's just a bunch of pieces of the Axelon. But whoa, there it is.
Cue the reveal.
Yeah.
What is it?
The Axelon.
Underwater.
Mostly intact, actually. Most of the ship is just there, kind of precariously balanced on a cliff edge. So
It's actually a really powerful moment, I think. Like the way that the music just completely shifts, the tone of everything completely shifts. It goes from fun and games, hey, I'm in a ball, swimming around, and all of a sudden, as quickly as it fades into view from the fog, the tone quickly changes as well.
this is a Beast Wars Wednesday exclusive.
Exclusive, son.
I have found alternate footage of the journey through the Axelon underwater right here. As you see, very scary stuff. Yeah, that's why they cut it out. It was too scary for the kids. Rattrap finally gets into the engine room of the Axelon. So right as Rattrap's about to pull the Sentinel out of the computer core, Anil comes out and he's like, and he's like, okay, it's cool. I'm cool as a cucumber. And then all of a sudden, beep, 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 beep. He's like, oh, I'm in trouble. And a claw comes out and grabs the submarine ball.
But it's not a Kingler. Because that's Pokemon, you big stupid.
No, it was Rampage. And he's pretty giant. And because, well, I mean, also Rattrap's tiny, but like, Rattrap's smaller than his pincher. Yikes. Yeah, and you can quote me on that. Yeah.
Write that down.
Yeah. Rampage taunts him.
A little bit.
Eloquently, I might add. And then all of a sudden, what's that you hear in the distance? A one-liner from Depth Charge. And then he blasts some pizzas from his mouth. And they make direct contact with Rampage. And he goes flying off. And Rattrap gets away. And Rattrap's like, woo, thanks there, fish lips.
X and I are gonna make a mess, and we get rough.
And Rattrap's like, I'm just gonna grab this, this thing.
And then we'll get out of your way. Megatron calls his homies. He's like, yo,
Hey, homebodies.
I got a job for you. And they're like, yes, sir, because they're playing cards and then...
And then Megatron's like, hey, will you just go get that thing? I want it. So Rattrap finally grabs Sentinel, makes his way back to the surface. Meanwhile, the Axelon got a little shifted from the fight, falls over, and...
crushes Rampage. And I forgot his name.
Depth Charge!
Depth Charge!
So Rattrap comes up. Silverbolt's like, hey, where you been, Rat? And Rattrap's like, get me out of here. Waspinator comes up, shoots Silverbolt. Rattrap goes bing bong, like a pinball.
Like a pinball.
Like in a pinball machine, because, hey, we can be a cartoon every now and then, right? And even Quick Strike's there, and he's like, well, look at this, how? Waspinator grabs the thing, and he leaves, and Quick Strike's like, yeah, I'm gonna get this guy. I don't like he thinks he's better than me, and all that stuff.
There's a battle going on underwater. And Fish Lips manages to trick Rampage into thinking he's crushed under debris, but he's not because he left his tail there. So then he grabs him, and he hurls him. How far did he throw him?
The more I think about it, the less possible it seems that he actually threw him that far.
Because he had to go through the water first.
You gotta think about it. Rattrap went underwater into the Axelon, which was deep enough. It was pretty deep, and then it fell to even deeper water.
Yeah.
So we're looking quite a bit down.
I think several hundred feet at least.
Yeah. Oh, but didn't he spin a few times first?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He spun him.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
God,
So
I
then
should have known.
so he spun him a few times.
Because that
and then
makes
he
it.
threw him.
Yeah, because it causes like what we call a water vortex, and especially if you can get like a little bit of curve and spin with the object that you're throwing, what it will do in essence is act like a propeller, which will make him go even faster.
Yeah. And then it opens up a wormhole, and then Rampage flies through the wormhole and comes out the other end, right at the surface of the water.
With the same inertial force that he had beforehand.
Exactly.
And when it collapses, it like
definitely
causes a shockwave, which launches him even further.
Yeah. And then he lands on Quick Strike. Waspinator's gone with Sentinel. Quick Strike's unconscious. Rampage is unconscious. Silverbolt's just waking up too. Depth Charge comes out of the water in actually a very nice dramatic shot. I like it. He's like... They get into an argument about how they need his help catching Waspinator, which actually, come to think of it, like, Depth Charge could have taken down Waspinator and gotten Sentinel back.
Oh, he could have just crashed into him.
No time. Depth Charge is much more fixated on just killing Rampage right then and there. He even pulls out like the old laser scalpel thing. Or Energon Blade.
Yeah.
Bird Dog and Ratface are just like, well, whatever, and then they go and chase down Waspinator. And then he turns around and Rampage is gone. He's like, argh! And so he goes to follow the trail of Starfish.
Starfish?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
No, literally, he was looking for a Rampage and there was Starfish scattered around. And I think it was because he was... am I crazy? Did that happen? Or were they just Starfish that were just there? I definitely saw Starfish, everybody. Let me know in the comments down below. Was he chasing Starfish, or were the Starfish just there for decoration? Please, this is vital information for the integrity of the story. Because I just don't know.
So then they're like, yo, there he is. Let's get him.
And Waspinator's like, Waspinator is having a nice day. Everything going so good. Waspinator not been shot today.
Right as he says it.
Yeah, boom. Yeah, Waspinator, you should know by now. Don't talk about how good your day is going. They managed to grab Sentinel. They're like, yeah, we're going to win. And then...
we're going to win.
And then Inferno pushes down a tree and they're like, whoa.
Watch out for that tree!
And then Inferno's like, give me Sentinel. And then Silverbolt's like, well, I'm going to be super tricky, guys. I'm going to say, sure, you can have it because I'm getting tired of carrying it. Inferno buys into it right away. He's like, okay, but if you're lying, if you're goofing off, I'm gonna shoot your face clean off.
And then poof, a fishing line grabs it and he reels it in. Who's he, you ask? I'm glad you asked. It's not important.
No, there's of no consequence to this episode. Rattrap dries off. He's like,
Stops for a second, turns around. Obviously, when you're being chased by a flyer who has a lot of firepower, you can stop, turn around. So you can gloat for a second and then take off again.
and Rattrap is beeline into the bridge to get across it. Inferno sees the bridge.
And he knows what to do.
This is a very time-considered missile that he's launched. So it's just, and then Rattrap's like, and he's like, but it hits the bridge, and Rattrap falls down, and then Silverbolt catches him, so it's okay.
He falls because he power slides and then falls off. If he would have kept driving and then transformed and jumped, the gap was only 5 feet?
Rattrap, if anyone should know better, it should be you. So, Rattrap's falling, and Silverbolt comes around, he goes, woo, catches him. He's like, hey, look what I got. I got me a rat on a stick, ha ha ha. He didn't say that, but I kind of wish he did. Let's go make out. But then they don't, because who comes around the corner coming to help? Depth Charge.
Who had a sudden change of heart. And then, what's his name gets it, and then he goes back to Mega Face, and they're like, hey, yay.
And then the Maximals are having they're sitting around the table, mostly standing around the table, the different heights that they need to actually look each other in the eye. Optimus is like, oh, I really wanted that. And Rattrap's like, yeah, it was this guy. And then Depth Charge was like, next time, I'm not even going to save your life.
Oh, I'm going to throw it in there.
Optimus is like, hold the phone. You saved Rattrap's life? That's really cool. Rattrap, did you even say thank you? Rattrap's like, oh, thank you.
I guess you see a little bit.
Optimus is like, Depth Charge, look, can we just work together?
Can we just be friends?
Depth Charge is like, let me think about it. Okay. Then, in a scene that definitely has repercussions through the whole series, Megatron pushes a big red button on Sentinel. It covers the Predacon base in a shield.
No!
That means that they have a shield now. The end.
You know, it'd be funny if the Sentinel shield system was designed for each specific ship individually, so that way it was the shield generator and it would project the shield in the shape
In the shape of the Axelon?
of the Axelon.
Right. And then it takes shape, slicing off the wings of the
Yeah.
dark side.
And then when the shield turns off, it just collapses. That'd be awesome.
It would definitely change the mood of the end of the episode, for sure. It'd also be really funny if they forgot to switch out the friend or foe program. Then they turn on Sentinel, and it switches all of the Predacon defenses onto the Predacons. And then they're like, no! Their base turns on them. I guess it's inferred that Megatron made the necessary corrections to Sentinel.
What worked for you in this episode?
I like the underwater stuff. I think going down and seeing the Axelon, it's eerie to go through those familiar hallways and the familiar engine room and just see it destroyed and submerged underwater. It reinforces the stakes of the third season. And this is just sort of almost like the embodiment of what it is that they lost.
Well, would you say that these stakes are more gourmet or prime?
Good question. Thanks for that. Yeah. I mean, you kind of know what's going to happen, but there is this sense of urgency and hopelessness once Rampage shows up, grabs Rattrap's little submarine, and he's screwed. This nice little satisfying punch of Depth Charge showing up and taking out Rampage, him and his little banter with Rattrap, all the stuff underwater. I really do like.
Nice.
Yeah.
I really like the cheeky humor with Rattrap. He delivers every single time, and I've come to expect nothing but excellence from his character. And the writers they always seem to know how to utilize him so well. Other characters just sort of seem to be filling a slot. Take a look at Quickstrike. He's just sort of, like you said, there to get squashed. Even Rhinox is he's there and he's sort of there to set the stage for what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Rhinox says we need this, so we should probably go and get this, right? It feels like a really good use of Rattrap. And every single time, he's consistently used very, very well.
As characters are getting more powerful with Depth Charge, Rampage, Optimal Optimus, he's never really gotten much more powerful than he was originally.
He's a bit more durable.
He's a bit more, but he's still the same guy surviving by his wits. And that's still what's getting him through, and that's still what's making him so compelling, is that he is, to some degree, he's he kind of speaks for the audience. You know, me, I'm like, there's no way you're getting me in that little submarine.
Yeah,
so
I am not going to go into that ship,
Yeah.
which is perched on the side of a cliff, and it's going to go down any minute. And he just goes in because he's like, well, I got a job to do.
But at the same time, realistically, reluctantly, he's like, "Are you kidding me? I am not getting into that." But he does it anyway because he's like, "Oh, you know, I guess it is up to me." And I also like the Depth Charge Rampage combo. I just like their dynamic. They're so into killing each other. It's so personal for Depth Charge, and it's so fun for Rampage.
Yeah.
He's just having a ball, like, scrapping with them. I think it's because he knows how personal it is for Depth Charge that he loves it so much.
Then why do you want to kill me?
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you?
Well, he is kind of a psychopath, right?
I think, well, yeah, because I think he knows that Depth Charge is in pain, and he feels, he's like, oh, every time I slip out of his fingers, he feels the pain again. Yeah.
Which is why he cackles when he does.
Yeah. and probably why he doesn't continue to fight. He probably, after landing on Quick Strike, could have transformed and continued the fight, but I think he likes it more when he just evades his grasp. I do like a little bit of the chase, but not all of the chase. The sort of hot potato with Sentinel.
Well, that was really well done, I think. Well choreographed.
There's certain lines and stuff and like, you know, awkward moments in it that I would edit out, you know, like Rattrap stopping and saying this really awkward line of, "Why don't you just shrivel up and die, Ant?" or whatever. I feel like they kind of lost sight a little bit of what Sentinel was originally. It wasn't just a shielding system. It was a really complex defense grid in and out of the Maximal base. It just seems like it's strangely convenient to have Sentinel as just this little box that they can just pass around.
And all of a sudden it emits a shield that
Yeah.
that contours to the hull of the dark side. That doesn't make any sense. Unless the dark side itself has its own shields.
Darkseid never had a shield grid. Maybe it did before it crashed.
You just plugged it in like an
Yeah.
extension cord and pushed the button.
Bada bing, bada boom, bada bang. And, you know, as we both kind of commented on earlier, another downside, and this isn't necessarily a downside of this episode specifically, but in retrospect, there aren't a lot in the way of consequences for the loss the Maximals took in this episode. I guess it does come down to, again, they are still on the defense, but for the Predacons to have gotten that shielding, not really much came out of that.
Suppose it just reinforces that the Predacon base is now nigh impregnable for the Maximals.
I mean, it's true. The Maximals are already on the defense. If they were to try and stage an attack, it'd be all the more hopeless.
They'd have to get through the guns, the shields, and then the Predacons. And then they got to get through layers of defense batteries inside the ship. I mean, I could see how it adds to an already difficult situation for the Maximals, but you know, it's like you said, when you look back at it, they never really address it ever. It's like, oh, that sucks. Especially with the dramatic Sentinel online. I should probably push it. I don't know. I just get the sense that while they do highlight that there's higher stakes with the Maximal position constantly being under attack, I feel like as a whole, at this point, none of the Predacons are really that big a threat.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe not. Because especially since Rampage seems very preoccupied.
Well, yeah,
with
he seems to
Depth
be.
Charge.
He seems to be the only threat right now. Take a look at the last couple episodes. Who's the only Predacon that seemed to make a difference?
Actually, that does remind me of something. Another thing I didn't really like too much. You're gonna have Depth Charge start working with the Maximals the next episode.
He even gives him a high five. He's like,
That was an interesting aspect of his character, is that he wasn't gonna play nice with the Maximals. And then it's like, okay, I guess he is. I'm glad that it happened, but if they just waited a little longer and played around with that idea more, it would have felt like a more earned change for the character.
yeah, instead of like, I'm a maverick renegade. Arr.
And then,
You know what? We're friends.
Then he winks. He winks at Optimus. Remember, we just got to know Depth Charge. We just met him.
Well, especially considering the motivation behind his character being who he is centers around the most tragic thing that changed him forever. Like, that was the driving force behind his life for 4 stellar cycles.
After much deliberation, Predacon Paul and Decepticon Doug, that's both of us,
Both of us.
we have decided on a verdict. Changing of the guard is 3 out of 5 underwater kitty cat toys. Look at them go.
It is kind of required watching, but not, in my opinion, and this is an opinion that Decepticon Douglas doesn't share. I feel like this episode just kind of feels like filler. It has its moments, and it further explores the nice little relationship between Depth Charge and Rampage, but something about it just seems meh.
It doesn't really wind up having too much in the way of consequences from the rest of the series, and so whatever opportunities were set up in this episode didn't really pay off.
Maybe we're just getting old.
I like it. Oh, yeah, 3's okay. 3's okay, guys. Guys, 3's okay.
What did you think about the episode?
Yeah, please tell us in the comments down below. We'd love to hear what you thought of Changing of the Guard. We love engaging with our audience. We think you are all so cool, loving Beast Wars like we do.
Yep.
Hey, and if this is your first time here, what's a good idea? Press that subscribe button.
Hit that bell. Leave a comment. If you hate his face, just tell him.
I gotta know.
If you hate mine, keep it to yourself. I'm kind of sensitive. And as always, tell your mom.
Dun, 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 dun.